Guys, we're back.
Hello, hello. I've got these things in, y'all, so I'm trying not to yell. Apparently, I yell sometimes.
Yeah, his voice is how do you say fuerte? It's strong.
Fuerte.
Yeah.
Fuego. That's not a word.
No,
Fuego.
that's not it.
I'm very
Fire.
Spanish.
His voice
I'm
is
very
fire.
Spanish. Apparently.
Well, welcome back. This is episode 2.
Yes.
And we decided to call this Two Regular Guys.
Two regular guys.
We're regular guys
Yeah.
having a conversation.
And I go back to the same thing. Like, are you regular if you say you're regular, right? Like,
Right.
doesn't that automatically make you not two normal guys because you're calling yourself
Right.
a normal,
Two regular? Normal?
two regular? Two normal?
Regular? Yeah, I know.
Whatever. Yeah.
I told Justine, I was like, oh yeah, this is what we're going to call it. Two regular guys. She goes, but you guys, it's
that's noise.
thundering out here, guys.
Yeah. There's lots of rain.
By the way, if you're listening on Spotify. But Justine was like, but you guys are extraordinary. And I was like, yeah. I was like, but I don't know. I guess
In a regular kind of way.
yeah, like want to be relatable.
Sure.
Like I was
sure.
listening to Jerry the other day on the Social Plug podcast.
Yeah. Shout out.
Shout
social
out
plug. Yeah.
Social Plug. Johnny and Jerry and J Rock and Michael out there doing awesome things.
Awesome things. Yeah.
And they had a lot of great people on the show.
Oh, for sure.
And what we said, like, everybody here is amazing, but they're regular people.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the idea.
For sure.
Two regular guys.
Just-
So for those who are stumbling on this show and they do not know who we are,
Oh, yeah.
I'm
That's a good
Andrew
idea.
Ramon,
Matt Kavanaugh. Yeah.
and we work together.
Yeah.
We work in mortgages,
Yep. Yep.
and we're the best in the world, according to me.
I've grown to like that because for a long time I tried to not deny it, but just the idea of it. But I see some challenges that some other people have that we get through pretty easily. And another thing, I think we're normal at mortgages, but turns out we're pretty amazing at it. So it's good. It's good.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but that's not why
No.
we created this, or
No.
we decided to record our conversations. We've
Yeah.
had many conversations at the gym in the sauna with other guys, and we're like, we should just record conversations.
We should record these. Yeah.
Yeah, record thoughts.
And it's funny too, and this happened the other day where I'll just start talking, and I'm not meaning to be inspirational or even thought provoking or any of those kind of things. But Andrew, I'll notice him like hit record and slide his phone into the middle of the conversation. So all of a sudden I'm like noticing that he's recording just the random things that we talk about. Is we have some good conversations like
Yeah,
that.
definitely. And not just us, with other
Yeah.
extraordinary and regular people
Yeah. Yeah.
in the community. And
It's funny where in this particular situation that I'm talking about, the most recent one, where she thought she was being very regular, but she's so extraordinary.
Right.
Her regular was above anywhere
Yes.
we would think to try to be. So anyway, we're getting off on tangents.
I
here.
wish I had better microphones to that point, because I was like, dang it, I wish
Yes,
they had
to
my
hear
gear,
all
but
of
we were
that.
just,
Yeah.
it was just a transition
You
period.
y'all should come hang out with us in real life.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun. We have a good time.
Yeah, we need to do like a day in the life. We need to
day,
get those
yeah.
Ray-Bans with the glasses and just,
That'd be cool.
you can just see what we
Yeah.
do all day.
Where we go. Yeah.
A lot of it is like computer work and
Yeah.
editing stuff, but
But Andrew's really funny, y'all.
Yeah.
He's like,
we are funny
we,
together.
we do some funny. I don't like comedy. We've talked
This is
about
a good
that. But
comedy-
apparently we
comedy
live
show.
in a comedy. So
So we did have a topic that Matt and I discussed. We
Yeah.
talked about it.
talk about it. Yeah.
Like, hey, what do we want to talk about today?
Yeah.
Or for this episode? And it came up that we talk about friendship.
Friendship. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a wild thing to really try to break down and talk about, like, 'cause it can go in so many different directions. But I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of friendship is like, you're my closest friend. Like, we hang out every single day. We do everything together. We even shave our faces the same kind of way. You know, it's like everything we do. I just need a little bit more of a tan, you know, and a lot stronger than I currently am. But anyway, like, we get to be around each other all the time, and I love our friendship. And I have other friendships where I might see somebody, you know, once every other day or once, you know, every couple of weeks. Or I talked to a buddy the other day that I was friends with, you know, from the time I was like 4 till I was 12. And still, I would consider him a really good, close friend, even though I probably haven't talked to him in 12 years. But, you know, it's just weird. Maybe girls and guys, but I think more guys are where you can go a long time without really talking. But the thing that really comes to mind and I don't want this to be too like sappy or anything when I talk about friendship is Alicia. Like my wife is like my best friend, like,
Right.
and I'm with her more than anybody else. But like, I really enjoy laughing and fighting and being ticked off at and her being mad at me
Right.
and me trying to get up, like all of the things that we go back and forth with. Like I love our friendship and relationship, and the rockiness of it only makes the times that it's not rocky more enjoyable, right? So it's like there's just a closeness with her that I really, really like. And I think it's funny when I feel the same way in a lot of ways with my kids too. So before I go into kids, like you and Justine, like,
Yeah, we recently this past weekend got to go to a high school friend's wedding,
yeah,
and we were kid free.
ooh,
That was cool.
yeah,
And it was funny because, like, jokingly, I said, "Man, I guess this is gonna be what it's gonna be like in 15 years when they're maybe out of the house. Who knows, right?"
sure, sure,
I was like, "I guess we got to be friends, right? We got to like things about each other and talk to each other,
yeah,
and it was a good time. We had a great time. Yeah,
Yeah.
just kind of who we were when we first met, and we were friends to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
That became a closer friendship, and then now best friends.
yeah,
But no, it's great.
yeah.
You know,
Cry.
shout out to wives who are best friends.
Yeah. Wife's for and my relationship wasn't like that. Like Alicia and I weren't friends. Like she maybe thought she was my friend, but I was immediately like, dang, I'm gonna marry that chick. Like whatever I gotta do, I'm gonna go through and make sure. No, like from the second I met her, she just struck me as somebody completely different. And it's weird. It's almost like our friendship blossomed through the romance of wanting to just know her intimately
Yeah.
as much as wanting to get to know her just as a friend too. So
Yeah. And I didn't want to get into this so quick, but talking about friends and our recent experience yesterday, what we told you about at lunch, talk about the ultimate best friend, right? Is Jesus.
oh yeah, for sure.
And really, like, my friendship, my relationship with Jesus helped my friendship with my wife,
Oh my gosh.
like,
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah. It there's nothing else like it. Like, and here's what I have a lot of kids. I have 6 kids, y'all, and so some older, some younger, but the older ones are coming back now and talking to me more and more about like, well, Dad, how do you do it, and what do you do? Like, there's different things going on, and it's interesting to say that I don't think I would not. I don't think I know I wouldn't have the relationship I have with Alicia if she wouldn't have at the same time as having me get to know her, she really wanted me to make sure that I was going to church and getting to know Jesus. And I see why, because without the free love that he gives me, my expectations of Alicia to satisfy that love couldn't be met. Like, she can't meet my needs the same way Jesus does.
Right.
And since I don't need her to because I have Jesus, I'm free to love her without boundaries, and she can love me without boundaries because we're filled in other ways. So it lets the friendship and the romance and the rest of the relationship be stronger because we're not dependent on each other to be okay.
Yeah.
That might sound weird if you don't know what that means, but can
No,
you say that in a better way? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've heard. I forget who it was. I think it was John Maxwell or somebody in that sorts. And I think it was like somebody asked the wife, like, "Hey, does John make you happy?" Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Well, no, he doesn't make me happy. Right? I make me happy, and he gets to be in my life with me being happy." Like,
Yeah.
something like that. If I find the video, but it was like basically like I don't rely on this human
Right.
for my happiness.
Right.
Like, ultimately, my happiness comes from God, and then it has to be like you tell your kids, like I've kind of like instilled in them joy.
Joy
Is the inside job.
Is an inside job. That's right. Yeah, that's big in our family. I mean, anytime there's anything getting you down or anything going on, like, hey, let's be grateful about the rest of the things, but you got to remember, all of that negativity is what you're letting come out, and that same choice for negative can be turned to positive. Because especially in my kids' lives, they're pretty spoiled. Like in my kids' life, if there's any negative, you're trying hard to be sad right now. Like you
Right.
got too much to be joyful for.
Oh my gosh.
So let that joy, pour out instead of the sadness pour out for sure.
Yeah. So went a little to the top level of the conversation there, but I did want to scale it back down because I did write a couple of little keynotes here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we can even start from the beginning. Like you talked about childhood friendships.
Sure.
And like I have, man, maybe 2 or 3 people from my childhood that I can remember that I still stay in contact with.
Mm-hmm.
Like thanks to social media and technology nowadays, Facebook. From when I was like 5 years old, and we went to school together. And here in where we live, New Braunfels, we'd go to the water park, Schlitterbahn, and hang out on the summers. And I still get to be a part of their life, but not as close as you and I, because it's just like a workplace, and we do work together, but we also do other things together.
We're family together.
Yeah.
We church together.
Before we worked together, we were almost like work buddies because we'd see each other a lot.
Yeah.
But it's still like if I reconnect with those friends, which I have in the last few years, the whole, at least for on a guy's perspective or a guy's side, you're talking about, we can just jump back into
Absolutely
a good conversation and loving on each other.
Yeah, I mean that friend I was talking about, his name is Sammy Howard, and he called me randomly late one night, and he's like, "Man, I'm so glad you answered the phone. I called this person, and the interesting thing was we're the same age. We were going to school together and everything, right? And he said how old he was, and Andrew reminded me of how old I was. So I was like, "No, bro, you're 45." He's like, "Wait, I'm what? I'm 40." So I was like, I knew what Andrew felt like, but it was funny because I knew exactly how old he was, and I knew what all those stories, and you try to tell people about your childhood and what it was like. But when you're hanging out or talking to somebody who they went through all of those, playing war in the streets and like going with the swimming pool and building the forts out in somebody's random field in Sugarland, Texas, like he was there for all that stuff. So we just get to remember it instead of trying to explain it. And it's almost like he's in my DNA, like he's a part of that world. And so in a second, we just pick up as if we never weren't friends. So it's really cool. And then he got his brother on the phone, Anthony, and we had just a great conversation. And again, we're big believers, guys. So if you're on this podcast, and this is the second one, you probably noticed that God comes up a lot. But it was so neat that our parents, so my parents and Sammy's parents, they took us to church. And so we had like this baseline from being very, very young. And even though definitely they did, and definitely I got away from the church, we're now all back. And it was that foundation that our parents laid for us to understand at least the basics of who God is. And then now the joy that God brings to us that we get to bring to our kids, just like our parents did to us. So it's pretty neat. So the full circle of life, if you will. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and I think with friendship too, kids, like, so people ask me, and as they get older, it's like there's less demand because again, 6 kids and a few of them out of the house already, and the demand almost isn't as high as it was at one point. And so we play pickleball and we do some other things, but I mean, for a long time, all I did was my kids. And I personally, I think I'm maybe a little different than most, because I've had guy friends who are like, "Man, don't you want to let's go for a guy's weekend?" Which I'm not for or against that stuff necessarily. Like, I'll do it, but I'm not about getting away from Alicia and the kids and being gone for a long time. No, I'll go with Alicia by ourselves. But I just like having my kids around. Like, they're my friends.
Right.
Like, Holland cracks me up
Oh, yeah.
all the time. And our little battles and fights that we have. And I was telling Andrew earlier, this morning she's mad at me because of this certain situation, and she's going to gymnastics. And anyway, so when we get there, she doesn't want to show me her new trick, right? That's what she says to me because she's mad at me. But then when her teacher gets there, she's like, "Hey, can I show my dad how to?" So it's like automatically I'm the one who only one who matters in the situation, but I'm also the one she's mad at, right? Or Abraham, who just cracks me up all the time. Like, he's probably, like, if I got to say, like, I don't know, just the closest friend, right, who's a kid, it's definitely him, because we talk like adults. That kid is
Right.
Abraham. He thinks he's the best at everything ever,
awesome.
and always trying to show you how cool he is. And he's an entertaining kid to be around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the same, like, I don't know, younger years. I don't ever think I ever went for like a guys weekend, but would go out and do bar stuff with the guys. But you're right. Like now it's pickleball, and then we play, and then we go home and we have Nerf wars with the kids.
Yeah.
Which are fun, by the way. Wear eye protection.
Dude, for real, like, y'all, kids loving their dad. Like, Andrew should have his own show about that. Because everything his kids do, they always relate it back to how awesome Andrew is. Like, they were playing basketball in my living room the other day, and and his son makes a basketball shot and turns around and is like, yeah, it's in my DNA. My dad played basketball. And Andrew...
Yeah, I played... I think up until middle school, like 7th grade.
Yeah, so like 1 year he bounced the ball a few times, played in the game,
Yeah.
and then but it's in Apollo's DNA because you played basketball. Anyway, they love Andrew and they think he's so awesome. And it's funny, like if he's gonna go somewhere for work for us, his kids are like, "No, Dad, don't go!"
Man.
Like they get so upset. I love it. My kids are like, "Peace, Dad.
Yeah.
Bring me back something. See you later."
Oh, I didn't even realize you were gone.
Yeah, for real. You get back, they're like, "Oh, you went somewhere."
Oh man, I know.
It's
man.
good. It's good.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good to be their friend too, and play
Yeah.
with them, and I don't know,
and be with them, right? I see some stuff on Facebook and some different people talking about wanting to be more engaged, and I would say that we both do a good job of being engaged in their lives. You know what I mean? For sure.
And we, just like other things in life, like we can sometimes get caught up being busy doing other things, but it's just like our walk with Jesus. Like you can stray,
Yeah.
but you can find your way back. And
Sure.
I remember telling Justine, and I think it was maybe when I started with you guys here, I was like, I'm making it a point. I think it was like every Saturday we're going to do something outdoors with the kids.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're just going to make that time. Like we can get busy, or Saturday's your day off and you want to just lay around, and sure. But like, you just got to be intentional with your time or with doing certain things, because we talked about habits last time. You're going to be creating habits
Yeah.
that they're going to, instill in their lives and with their friends and kids and friends. Going back to friends, like our children, our sons and daughter are the same age. Like how did our childhood friendships develop us to who we are now? And how are their friendships? Like, do we see similarities and or differences? What are the similarities and differences?
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I think for sure that it's with our kids in particular, because we're together so much. I think it's still a little bit different because the world is different.
Right.
Like there are a couple neighbors around us that our kids go outside and hang out with every single day, right? But it's still not the same way that I grew up, because our kids will go out for an hour or two and then come back inside our house, where we went to 9 different houses all day long. We may be at my house, we may be at somebody else's house, but from morning to night, and sometimes days at a time, we were in each other's lives with each other's parents and all that kind of stuff. Like, I remember my good friend Jesse and the way that his dad made tea, because I was in his house eating food with them and drinking their tea. And but my kids, it's not that they don't go in the houses, but it's definitely not like they're staying there with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with Paulo, when he comes over, or Alina, like they go everywhere with us and live with us while they're there. And especially if Abraham goes to your house. Abraham's different because he'll be like, "Peace out, Dad." And he could be gone for a week and not even need to check in. He's like, I'll drop him off. He's supposed to be there for an hour, and he's like, "Oh, I'll see you on Sunday."
Right.
It's like Wednesday night, right?
Yeah, he just stay a whole weekend with us one time.
He'll just and never check in, never ask anything. We're like, "All right, cool," and he's just gone. Yeah. But and I think that's cool to have that. But that was more normal when I was a kid, and so it's good seeing Paulo and Alina and Holly, Abraham hanging out the way that they do. I think it's going to be good because we'll be friends for a long time. So they'll naturally be friends for a long time.
Yeah.
I think shifting that just a little bit from good friends to bad friends. Like, I'm a bad friend. Like I really, like and when I mean availability wise, like, and Alicia and I, we don't say this so often anymore because we realize it's not real polite, but we're like, we're not taking applications for friends. Like, we've got enough people in our lives and things going on. And sometimes I feel, just because I like to, I'm probably more of a people pleaser than I want to admit. And so I want for people to think I'm friendly. In the Bible, it's like, you want friends, show yourself friendly, right?
Right.
And so I don't want more friends. So, like, should I be more friendly? I don't know. And so we were talking earlier about how the other day I saw some of our neighbors got together for like a poker night,
Right.
but they didn't even invite us. But why would they? Because every time they've ever invited us, we're like, no, we're good. You know, we don't, we got enough going on not to get too involved in the neighborhood stuff. And I like all of our neighbors. I really do. Like, one-on-one and hanging out with them. My buddy across the street, he brews beer, really good beer. It's awesome. And anyway, we all hang out, but it's just such limited time. And I have to decide, do I want to go be a mediocre friend to my neighbors or a really good friend to my wife?
Right.
Right. Or, you know what I mean? So it's like, when I'm deciding what to do with my time, I just don't have time to be a good friend to very many people. And some people I care deeply about. Like, I would love to hang out with my pastor more. You know what I mean? But I don't. And I would love to hang out with Pastor Thad, another really good friend of mine who we meet every once in a while on a Friday, where it used to be we saw each other every week when we went to the same church, and then every other week when we met for breakfast. But now it's like once every other month or so, you know? And those are friendships I really care about, but I got to strategize and put things together, and habits, intentions, right? Yep. So
now I'm just fortunate that I almost control your schedule.
Yeah.
So I like, okay, he's available.
You plan who I hang out with. Yeah, that's exactly. Literally that's good. So you happen to always be around. So to you, I'm a great friend. Yeah, that's good.
Well, that's why
I'm capable. I'm capable of being a friend. That's good.
I know. And then even funny, like, remember, I think it was Hunter or Cloman or somebody was like, I took a couple of days off. I was forced to take some time off, guys. But I remember, and then we're like playing pickleball together, and they were like, "You're hanging out with your boss on your day off?" I was like, he was my friend before.
Kind of like we both work for Alicia, really.
Yeah.
So anyway,
the boss's husband.
Yeah. I'm the boss's husband.
But that's how, I guess, that's how much friends we are. We'll hang out on off days because, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like we don't really work. We really just get to hang out, and we do mortgages for a living.
We do. We get to, and that's the cool part about being followers of Jesus, is wanting to be people who are available to help. And what we get to do for a living, right? You say mortgages, but we really do it with education in mind and helping people in mind. And I've probably upset people over the years because I talk people out of doing things, because in my heart of hearts, I know my job is to be a representative of Christ, who happens to be a mortgage person, not a mortgage person who happens to be, you know what I mean? It's like, so I have to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do in front of everything else, right? And so, anyway, as I see that unfolding, sometimes I realize it's all important, like, it all matters. And so, being a good friend, being available, doing the right thing, like, and it all has to lead back to, again, priorities. And I can't let myself get too far off track one or the other. I got to keep things going forward, because I know there's a plan for my life, and we get to give big and love big and be around in big ways. And my best friend is Alicia here physically, but spiritually and emotionally, and like, who I count on is Jesus. And so,
Amen to that.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to end it.
It's a good way. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our Facebook page. And our Spotify. Or follow it. I'm not sure on Spotify. We're brand new to it. But it's like,
do the things you do on Spotify.
Follow the podcast. Something like that.
There you go. We're real good at this so far. All right. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Thank you so much, y'all.
Take care, guys.
All right. Bye.